Well, it's a compliment. I'm very pleased to hear that. I think when a goalie can be calm, it just lets the team play a little more ease, and they're not gripping their sticks as tight. So I think that just comes from my preparation. When you do work, before you get on the ice or before the game, I think that allows you to be calm. You've earned that, feeling or disposition. So I think that comes with the preparation and mindset that goes into being a goaltender off the ice.
You guys talk about things slowing down or just seeing the puck better. You got anything like that for us? Why are you on such a roll right now?
I think just reading the play. I've been lucky enough to, play a few consecutive games, and I think it's you get into a rhythm. I think that's one of the biggest assets for a goalie in any league is getting into a rhythm, knowing what to expect, reading the play. Just when you have that, that presence and that ability, like when you are trusted, to play multiple games in a row, it really does help reading the play.
Is that rhythm what you kind of started the year with? I know you're in Indy, you're here, you've been in Chicago. I mean, did that help?
That helped. That adversity helped define that rhythm. I think it's something that you gradually achieve throughout the year, and you build and you build and you build. I don't think I had that presence at the beginning of the year. I think that's something that has, come with, having the experience of, close to a full season or of somewhat of a full season, being in Indy, being here, being in Chicago, just to have that recognition that, the habits that you do or that you have in Indy, habits that you have in Rockford, habits that you have in Chicago, they're transferable everywhere. And I think that helps, build a rhythm.
Can you just expand a little more on that, the road that it's been like this year? I mean, 3-4 months ago, I don't know if you saw yourself in this position right now.
Sure. I had no expectations coming in this year at all, coming right out of college. It's a completely, different environment. So just to be here right now, it's not surreal, but I'm just very grateful for the opportunity. And I don't think I would have seen myself in this role so soon. But I think the coaching staff, Pete Aubry included, it's been they've really helped me transition, into this role. And that's, if I have any success, I credit it to them and the team, how well they play in front.
What is Pete Aubry's magic? What is the best thing that he passes on to you guys?
Calmness, I think. It's just his message is clear. It's not overstated. He knows, he lets you know exactly what he wants. There's no gray area. He's up front, and the relationship that I've been able to form with him along the way is very beneficial.
Collin, I noticed out there that you have a minion on the back of your goalie helmet. Can you explain why that's there and where that came from?
Why it's there? It's just because I'm a bit of a dork, I think. I like to have fun, and I think sometimes maybe if you're having a bad game or a bad practice or, in the intermission, you can kind of take it off, look at the back, and just kind of smile. Because I think the minions are pretty funny, and I die laughing every time I watch the movies or clips of them. So that's the reason for the minion.
Collin, how much would you attribute, the success of the special teams to your confidence between pipes?
I think when the guys are putting, goals in the other team's net, it makes me play, a little calmer as well. Going back to that other question, we have goal support. Knowing when we get a power play, like we have a great opportunity to score. We have great leadership on the power play. We have a great veteran presence, and I think there's somewhat, I don't want to call it urgency, but they want to score. It's not like we're just going to play with it. We're going to take a perfect shot. Like we have our system, we stick to it, but we want to get pucks to the net. So it definitely does help, having goal support in the power play.
The coach talked about not giving up a high number of chances, but the chances that giving up are high quality. Does it give you a little bit of confidence knowing that you can make the high danger saves and just continue to roll that in game after game?
Sure. It's tough because when you don't face a lot of shots, but they're from the outside, it does keep your mind in it somewhat. If you don't have to make the most difficult saves, but then, like you said, you get a few really high quality chances. Like, you want to come up big, as a goaltender. Like, that's your role, is to make those saves that you have no business making. So I think knowing that is my responsibility and taking ownership of that, that's really where I think I've been able to make an impact, and we're going to give up chances. That's the name of the game. It's whoever makes the most mistakes at the end of the day is typically the one who loses. But I think if the goalie can, mitigate any of those mistakes, it gives the team a pretty good chance of winning. So just taking ownership of my role and responsibility.
Collin, how much has the team been impressed with the success of DiDomenico out on the ice, especially in the playoffs here?
Sure, he's made a tremendous impact. He's a great role player for us, and he's a great leader on and off the ice. I think everyone feeds on his energy. He's a pretty lively guy, and we just enjoy having him in the locker room, and he definitely makes an impact, especially on the power play.
Does he set an example for young players? He's not an old player, but he's been around the professional ranks for a while now. So does he set kind of a good example for them?
Yeah, of course. I think he has. I mean, he's probably played pro for 6-7 years, and he's had, a bunch of different arenas, or he's been to Europe, he's played there. So, he knows the game, from different perspectives. And I think that's one thing that, maybe even makes him more valuable, to young players, to mentor them, like the North American game is perhaps different than the European game, but there are certain, facets that, can probably be transferable over here as well. So he definitely helps, mentor some of the younger guys as well from that perspective.
Coach talked about the fact that you guys aren't really surprised that you're in this position. You came in as a fourth-place team. How has the mindset changed, if it has, since the beginning of all this?
I don't think it's changed at all. I think you hit the nail right on the head there. We knew we were playing good hockey. We knew we were good enough to even be in first. It didn't really matter what number was in front of our, team's name, but we knew that we were going to make an impact regardless. So just rolling, I think from January on we had, not a newfound identity, but we had an understanding of what we had to do night in and night out. We really refined our roles and responsibilities, on an individual standpoint. And I think as a result, the team's been able to stay consistent.
You guys are on a roll like this as a team. Is the feeling kind of like if we come out and we play our game, it's going to take a really superior effort to beat us, or a great team to beat us?
Oh, I think if we play our game, we give ourselves a chance to win every night. Nothing's guaranteed. You look in the NHL playoffs as well. You run into teams that play well that night, or maybe you're playing slightly better or slightly worse, and you get the advantage. So sometimes you really just have to control your locker room, control your game. And all the rest takes care of itself, quite honestly. I think if you're worrying too much about, what the other team's doing, you're really getting off your game. So I think that's where we've been able to have some success in the, the recent past here, is that, we've really controlled how we want to play, and we haven't let teams, get on us, and we haven't gotten away from our game. So I think if we continue to keep up with that, I think we'll see success here.
How's the playoff period coming in for you?
Terrible, as you can see. It's pretty sparse, but this is actually more facial hair than I've ever grown, so this is uncharted territory.